The AI arms race has begun. There's been a ton of controversy about how all of these AI companies are scraping copyrighted data they don't have the license to, and using it to build their models. And Cloudflare is stepping up to fight back against this. This article is from March, and it's an article from Cloudflare talking about how they are working to prevent AI content scrapers from scraping information from all the websites on the web. So let's take a dive into it. Trapping misbehaving bots in an AI labyrinth. Today we're excited to announce AI Labyrinth, a new mitigation approach that uses AI-generated content to slow down, confuse, and waste the resources of AI crawlers and other bots that don't respect no-crawl directives. When you opt in, Cloudflare will automatically deploy an AI-generated set of linked pages when we detect inappropriate bot activity, without the need for customers to create any custom rules. AI Labyrinth is available in an opt-in basis to all customers, including the free plan. So this is pretty typical from Cloudflare. For a lot of their services, they'll launch them for free for their free customers. From the user perspective, or I should say the developer perspective, that's great because you get to use these really cutting edge technologies on your website. So things like their Cloudflare CDN, things like this AI Labyrinth, among lots of other DDoS protection and things that Cloudflare offers. And on the Cloudflare side, it helps Cloudflare by just getting more data about bad actors, whether it's IP addresses or other identifying information, or just lots of more data and metrics to make their automatic anomaly detection perform better for their paying customers. So it helps out for the developers and it helps out for Cloudflare. Another nice thing about including these things in the free plan for Cloudflare is it gets developers using the platform. And if developer has used Cloudflare and had a good experience, they're more willing to recommend it for their company when their company is looking for some hosting strategy. So don't think this is Cloudflare trying to, I can't remember the word for it, but do great for humanity. This is Cloudflare, yes, doing a good thing, but ultimately it is for Cloudflare's business, which is understandable because Cloudflare is a business. So where are we at? AI Labyrinth is available in an opt-in basis to all customers, including the free plan. Using generative AI as a defensive weapon. AI-generated content has exploded, reportedly accounting for 4 of the top 20 Facebook posts last fall, which is kind of interesting. I didn't even know that was something that was tracked. I don't really think of Facebook posts as going viral, but I guess maybe they do in some cases. Additionally, Medium estimates that 47% of all content on their platform is AI generated. Like any newer tool, it has both wonderful and malicious uses. I gotta say, this is 100% accurate. Well, I mean, I can't attest to the exact numbers they're using, but Medium and just random websites on the internet are just so full of AI content now. Try and look up a recipe and it's just junk. Try and look up a comparison. This versus that. It's just AI tools. There are people just building websites based on compare this thing to this thing and write a website about it and just blah all over the internet. Not a fan of that personally, but that's not really the point of this article. At the same time, we've also seen an explosion of new crawlers used by AI companies to scrape data from model training. AI crawlers generate more than 50 billion requests to the Cloudflare network every day, or just under 1% of all web requests we see. While Cloudflare has, we'll come back to this in just a second. While Cloudflare has several tools for identifying and blocking unauthorized AI crawling, we have found that blocking malicious bots can alert the attacker that you are onto them, leading to a shift in approach and never-ending arms race. So we wanted to create a new way to thwart these unwanted bots without letting them know they've been thwarted. Just wanted to call out here, AI crawlers generating a ton of requests. I actually got, I don't know if it was an email or saw an article from Wikimedia, the people who run Wikipedia, about how AI crawlers, or crawlers in general, one or the other, are just crushing their servers right now because of people building software that's just not optimized or not taking advantage of caching. And also because, for pages that people actually visit on Wikipedia, so they just elected a new pope. I don't know anything about Catholicism, but they elected a new pope. So you can bet that that pope page on Wikipedia is cached across all of Wikipedia's edge servers. But random obscure pages in Wikipedia are not going to be cached onto all these servers. So when a bot goes in and it requests some obscure page that's not cached, it adds extra load to Wikimedia. May review that article in the future, but I'll see if I can find it and link it down in the video description. But yeah, ton of requests. Wikimedia was saying that, it was like I don't remember the exact numbers, I shouldn't say, but a large percentage, much larger than 1% of all requests is what Wikimedia said they experience. So I'm not disputing Cloudflare's numbers. I'm just saying for Wikimedia, it's way higher number. Let's see, arms race, thwart these unwanted bots, so letting them know they've been thwarted. To do this, we decided to use a new offensive tool in the bot creators toolset that we haven't really seen used defensively. Maybe not for this scraping, but I do have an example of where this is used defensively in other places. AI generated content. When we detect unauthorized crawling, rather than blocking the request, we will link to a series of AI generated pages that are convincing enough to entice a crawler to traverse them. But while we're looking, this content is not actually the content of the site we are protecting, so the crawler wastes time and resources. As an added benefit, AI Labyrinth also acts as a next-generation honeypot. No real human would go 4 links deep into a maze of AI-generated nonsense. Any visitor that does is very likely to be a bot, so this gives us a brand new tool to identify and fingerprint bad bots, which we add to our list of known bad actors, and here's how we do it. So we'll get into this in just a little bit. I want to call out a few things I see here. So basically, one thing they're saying here is rather than just reject the bot's request, which could tell the bot like, hey, stop requesting this, maybe change your IP address, change your user agent, just letting the bot think it's operating as normal and just gathering garbage data instead of the bot failing and then the author of the bot knowing like, okay, we have to get around this strategy. The bot just continues working as normal and the people running it are no the wiser. There is a place, an example of where this is, something similar to this is used, and that is in the gaming industry for when hackers are detected. So obviously, let's say you're playing an online game and other people are hacking, giving them advantages. Maybe they can see through walls, maybe they can't miss a shot, something like that. One approach is detect that and ban that account. And that works fine. The issue is those hackers can then easily find, or they know they've been banned, so they can buy a new account or acquire a new account. A lot of games these days are like free to play, so they don't even have to pay for the account. They just get a new account and then they can get back to playing just like that. But what some companies have decided to do, and I believe I can't remember if it was Counter-Strike or maybe Escape from Tarkov or some other company had started, kind of shadow banning. I guess really that's what this is kind of like. It's like shadow banning the AI scraper. So, they shadow ban these hackers to games with other hackers. So they don't affect general users because the hackers are all fighting each other and doing that type of thing, where the users can play in their user areas. So I think that's pretty cool. I think this is a cool approach to thwart this scraping. And there are a few things that this tool does. One, it wastes AI crawler time, just scraping junk pages. Two, it may be able to a little bit protect your content, the people who are using this tool, like me as a developer. If I add this or enable this functionality for my site, it may protect my content from getting scraped if the crawlers get sidetracked on all these, AI links. It may help protect my content from getting scraped. And then the third thing it does, and this is where I was talking about earlier about one of the reasons that Cloudflare is specifically making this free, is because then Cloudflare can find fingerprints or ways to identify tools, data centers, servers, that type of thing that are doing this AI crawling. So that's the advantage of, instead of just their commercial customers, all the free people, they get, let's say there's, just for an example, 10 paying customers. Cloudflare has 10 paying customers. They can only get so much data. If they have 10 paying customers and 100 free customers, now they get, 11 times the data? So that's why Cloudflare makes these things free. This AI Labyrinth, as well as some other tools that they have. So let's talk about how they built it. How we built the Labyrinth. When AI crawlers follow these links, they waste valuable computational resources, processing irrelevant content rather than extracting your legitimate website data. This significantly reduces their ability to gather enough useful information to train their models effectively. To generate convincing human-like content, we use Workers AI with an open source model to create unique HTML pages on diverse topics. Rather than creating this content on demand, which could impact performance, we implemented a pre-generation pipeline that sanitizes the content to prevent any cross-site scripting vulnerabilities and stores it in R2 for faster retrieval. We found that generating a diverse set of topics first, when creating content for each topic, produced more varied and convincing results. It is important to us that we don't generate inaccurate content that contributes to the spread of misinformation on the internet. So the content we generate is real and related to scientific facts, not just relevant or proprietary to the site being crawled. Just not relevant or proprietary to the site being crawled. So this kind of knocks out two things. Well, one is the performance. Fair enough. And then the other thing is produce varied and convincing results. So this is going to lead to an arms race. This is how an arms race works. The AI scrapers start scraping sites. Cloudflare tries to protect it. The AI scrapers try and look and see how Cloudflare is protecting it. So the AI scrapers are going to be built to detect these AI labyrinths and avoid them. And then Cloudflare then has to fight back against the AI models to figure out new ways to trap them in these labyrinths. And it's just an arms race from there. So that's what they're talking about here with more varied and convincing results. It has to be convincing to the AI so that the AI will continue wasting time. If it's obvious to the AI, like if it says, this is an AI labyrinth on the webpage, the AI will say, or the AI can be built to say, don't waste time here. Another cool thing here, and I think this, I guess it kind of depends how you feel about it, but Cloudflare is trying not to just generate literal gibberish, because the AI is likely being trained on this data, and if they just read gibberish, they're going to output gibberish, which kind of depends on your view of AI and how you feel about it. But the information on these AI these labyrinth pages is real information, just it's not the information the scrapers are trying to get. This pre-generated content is seamlessly integrated as hidden links on existing pages via our custom HTML transformation process, without disrupting the original structure or content of the page. Each generated page includes appropriate meta directives to protect SEO, search engine optimization, by preventing search engine indexing. We also ensure that these links remain invisible to human visitors through carefully implemented attributes and styling. To further minimize the impact to regular visitors, we ensure that these links are presented only to suspected AI scrapers, while allowing legitimate users and verified crawlers to browse normally. So we got a few things in here, you wouldn't want your site, so Jmart Media is my site. Look it up, I've got a blog, there's not too much there, but helpful information that I kind of document for myself. But I wouldn't want Jmart Media /Labyrinth /123 ABC, whatever, those pages to be indexed in Google, because then people are going to search my site and they're just going to find gibberish and they're going to be like, what's up with this? So that's what this is all about. Also wanting to make sure that these links are not seen by humans, because that would also lead to a bad user experience for obvious reasons. Yeah, there we go. So here we have a screenshot of daily requests by category, which I guess is based on the user agent. So we've got AI scraper up at the top, just scraping data, just probably directionless, just scraping all the data it can get. AI search, which hard to say what that is. That's probably more purpose-built search on sites, maybe like how Google search does their AI summary of whenever you make a search. And then AI assistant, which is probably more like ChatGPT, just the web interface as you're asking it questions, or if you pass it a URL and it reads data from that. That's probably what this is. But AI scraper, as you can see, is the big one. Don't really have any numbers, kind of interesting, but whatever. What makes this approach particularly effective is its role in our continuously evolving bot detection system. When these links are followed, we know with high confidence that it's automated crawler activity, as human visitors and legitimate browsers could never see or click them. This provides us with a powerful identification mechanism, generating valuable data that feeds into our machine learning models. By analyzing which crawlers are following these hidden pathways, we can identify new bot patterns and signatures that might otherwise go undetected. This proactive approach helps us stay ahead of AI scrapers, continuously improving our detection capabilities without disrupting the normal browsing experience. Again, this goes back to like Cloudflare is trying to get all this data so they can identify anomalies better, faster, more efficiently, and more accurately. By building this solution on our developer platform, we've created a system that serves convincing decoy content instantly while maintaining consistent quality, all without impacting your site's performance or user experience. How to use AI Labyrinth to stop AI crawlers. Enabling AI Labyrinth is simple and requires just a single toggle in your Cloudflare dashboard. Navigate to the bot management section within your zone and toggle the new AI Labyrinth setting on. And then we got some screenshots. Let's see. Once enabled, the AI Labyrinth begins working immediately with no additional configuration needed. And I've actually got this set up. I'll show a little demo. It's a pretty disappointing demo, to be honest. And there's reasons for that, but we'll look at that after we finish this article. AI honeypots created by AI. The core benefit of AI Labyrinth is to confuse and distract bots. However, a secondary benefit is to serve as a next generation honeypot. Again, talking about collecting all that data. In this context, a honeypot is just an invisible link that a website visitor can't see, but a bot parsing HTML would see and click on, therefore revealing itself to be a bot. Honeypots have been used to catch hackers as early as the late 1986 Cuckoo Egg incident, and in 2004, Project Honeypot was created by Cloudflare founders prior to founding Cloudflare to let everyone easily deploy free email honeypots and receive lists of crawler IPs in exchange for contributing to the database. Again, it's all about collecting that data. But as bots have evolved, they now proactively look for honeypot techniques like hidden links, making this approach less effective. Again, going right back to what I was talking about they mentioned, producing varied and convincing results. Like if the AI crawler can be built to easily identify these, they're calling them honeypots or this labyrinth, it basically does no good. So they have to be convincing enough to click it and waste their time. AI Labyrinth won't simply add invisible links, but will eventually create whole networks of linked URLs that are much more realistic and not trivial for automated programs to spot. The content on these pages is obviously content no human would spend time consuming, but AI bots are programmed to crawl rather deeply to harvest as much data as possible. When bots hit these URLs, we can be confident they aren't actual humans, and this information is recorded and automatically fed to our machine learning models to help improve our bot identification. This creates a beneficial feedback loop where each scraping attempt helps protect all Cloudflare customers. I keep harping back to this, but it's all about the data in this case. So what's next? While this is only the first generation of using generative AI to thwart bots for us, I said wow, but that's not how it started, okay? This is only the first iteration of using generative AI to thwart bots for us. Currently, while the content we generate is convincingly human, it won't conform to the existing structure of every website. In the future, we'll continue to work to make these links harder to spot and make them fit seamlessly into the new existing structure of the website they're embedded in. You can help us by opting in now. Take the next step in the fight against bots, opt into AI Labyrinth today. I think that takes you to the page. Cloudflare's connectivity cloud protects entire corporate networks, blah, blah, blah. Okay, kind of advertising type stuff. So I thought what would be cool would be, let's see if I can look into this labyrinth. So I don't really know where the root word of labyrinth comes from, but labyrinth is like a maze from some movie called The Labyrinth. I don't know. I'm sure the root of the word is way back in history, but I'm not aware of that. Basically, it's a maze that's hard or impossible to get out of. My issue was I actually couldn't get into the maze, and I'll show you what I mean by that. There are two possibilities. One possibility, hopefully this isn't it because this would be pretty lame. One possibility is that I enabled the AI Labyrinth wrong, which to be fair is kind of a maybe a little bit of a user experience in Cloudflare issue if that's the case, because like they say, a single toggle on your Cloudflare dashboard. I'm hoping I haven't set it up wrong. The other possibility is that Cloudflare's AI crawler detector is working pretty well and it's not identifying me as a crawler, so it's preventing me from seeing it. So basically, this is actually my first time using Cloudflare. I start up a little Cloudflare site and you can see it right here. It's about the most basic an HTML page can get because I want it to be simple so I could see where this labyrinth was being injected. Like this is literally the file that I uploaded. And here's what it looks like. I also had to attach a domain in order to actually enable this AI labyrinth. So what I had to do, go to domains. I added crewviewer.com, which is a domain that I have and I'm not currently using, but probably will in the future. So stay tuned for that. I've had this domain for like 3 or 4 years now at this point. So hopefully we'll get there eventually. Things just take time. And I'm busy. So I attach my domain, and then if I go into my domain, then we have this security option. I have this domain pointing at my Cloudflare Pages site. But in theory, it seems like this AI Labyrinth is kind of set up in a proxy. So even if I wasn't hosting my site on Cloudflare, I believe, I haven't tested this yet, but I believe I could still use it even if I was just using like Cloudflare DNS. Request comes into Cloudflare, Cloudflare intercepts it, makes a request to my site based on the DNS rules and whatnot. My site returns its content, and then Cloudflare parses that content and injects the AI Labyrinth links in there and returns it to the user. I don't know that would work exactly, but you could definitely set it up where, request comes into Cloudflare, Cloudflare goes to Cloudflare pages, returns your site, puts in the link, spits it back out to users. All makes sense. Come into security and go to bots, and then I'll show you. I've got AI Labyrinth enabled, bot fight mode enabled, and also manage bots with robots.txt. We'll actually see this bot fight mode when we view the site. We won't see this, unfortunately. So this URL, it's not set up to work, but if we go to crewviewer.com, it is set up to work here. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh that, and we'll view the page source. You can notice this page is almost exactly the same as the page that I uploaded. The difference is this script tag was injected. And this script tag, if we look through it, let's see if I can line wrap. I haven't actually parsed exactly what everything it's doing, but it seems like it's probably trying to detect whether or not JavaScript is enabled. And I'm mostly basing that on the fact that this says something about blah, blah, blah. This feature includes JavaScript detections. This looks like something that would be built to detect JavaScript. Again, haven't parsed it line by line, but that's probably what it is doing. Anyway, we see this script. Now, we don't see the AI Labyrinth link. And my expectation going into this was there would be a link up at the top, like the very first link. It would be hidden from users, hidden from screen readers, but accessible to crawlers, and that crawlers would click on that and go to the site. As you can see, that link's not there. I'm literally not able to get into the Labyrinth. I was really hoping I could, just so I could see some of this generated content. But if you have any idea in how to get into this Labyrinth, let me know. My guess is that, Cloudflare is just not identifying me as a suspicious user or a bot or scraper, whatever it is. Even when I curl and I set specific user agents, even kind of suspicious user agents, like it never returns that AI Labyrinth. I'm sure it probably has something set up to some kind of like a rate limiting or DDoS protection, not even DDoS protection, really just denial of service protection, where it detects lots of requests from a single IP, and that's one way that it identifies you as a bot, is my guess. One of the advantages they have of not showing me this AI Labyrinth is if I could see the AI Labyrinth here, I could look into it. Me as a person, I could see if I could identify anything about these AI Labyrinth pages that I could programmatically key in on them being AI pages and therefore tell my AI scraper not to scrape pages like this. So I'm guessing that's why I don't see the link here. If you know how to get into this Labyrinth, let me know, because I think that'd be super interesting to explore. So leave down in the comments section down below, leave your thoughts on this process. I think it's a pretty cool way to fight back against these AI scrapers. And yeah, I'm happy to see Cloudflare doing this. So with that said, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.